Hello, thank you for being in a new video. This time I have the unboxing of the Nothing Phone 2A. Let's get started. This is the mid-range device offered by this manufacturer, which has a very particular design, a very important essence in its entire product line. So it is a good alternative for those who want a Nothing, but perhaps are not considering spending too much money. Its launch price in Mexico is 6,699 pesos. On the screen, you see the reference price in dollars, just to give you an idea. Although remember that the prices here are not the same as over there. Normally in Mexico, the prices are a little higher, and you also have to consider that there might be special offers and promotions at some point. So this is just the launch price for your reference. Come with me to uncover the box. These Nothing boxes, the truth is that they are quite original. You can immediately tell if the device is new or not new. So here it is demonstrated that I just opened the box. As you notice, it comes in book format. And notice that in this part they welcome us to nothing. He says, well, this is not exciting. And among other things, it encourages us to use a hashtag on Instagram and other things for the Nothing community. So that's a good point. And here I have the device with us. Notice that it has a very unique design. Generally, manufacturers always orient two cameras in the corner and with a vertical arrangement. Few manufacturers currently use this layout. In fact, I would venture to say none, but maybe there are some out there that I can't remember at the moment. In addition, it comes with the glyph interface, which are some LEDs that we'll get to in a moment to more brightly decorate this back cover, which, by the way, is quite reflective. It is a device of good dimensions. We'll see its specs in a moment, but for now let's put it on power while we see if there's anything else in the box. It only comes with its USB-C to USB-C cable. With a transparent finish on its terminals, it is to give it the special touch of this brand that always has different transparencies in all its products. So in the cable will be no exception. And we will also have this touch of design. But the bad news is that it does not bring charger. The charger must be purchased separately. The good news is that it supports standard power delivery, so you don't necessarily have to buy the original charger. But you could also use chargers from other manufacturers, so let's see what else there is. We're just looking at the usual documentation, and it looks to me like there's something else down here. The key to remove the tray, which also has transparency, because as I say, it's a touch of this brand. That's all that comes in the box. So there's very little content. It doesn't include a case. That's an important piece of information. Because being a manufacturer that's not that popular, maybe the holsters might take a little bit more work to find. But let me put this away, and I'll get back with you to take a look directly at the phone and its specs. I've already got the device set up here, so let's get to know it. The first thing that catches your eye is the whole user interface, which, as you notice, comes in this black and white combination with red highlights. Very traditional Nothing, although you can select as well if you want an interface more like pure Android, so the manufacturer gives you to choose the aesthetics of their system. It has a weight of about 190 grams and a thickness of 8.55 millimeters, staying in the average. Let's say it is neither too light nor too heavy. The screen is 6.7 inches in its diagonal, with a resolution of 1084 by 2412 pixels. It is a very specific resolution that could be considered Full HD+. The technology of this screen is AMOLED, and it offers us a maximum peak brightness of 1300 nits. In addition, its refresh rate is 120 Hz to show fluid movements. So for the price range, sincerely, it is an excellent screen, one of the best in its segment. In addition, protected with Gorilla Glass 5, and it should be noted that it is a flexible AMOLED screen, and with that it is achieved that the bezels are considerably reduced, even at the bottom, so as you realize, it's practically symmetrical bezels, giving it a very modern look, which is practically impossible to find at this price. As you can see, it doesn't have a headphone jack, but if you have stereo sound with a speaker below, and another speaker in the earpiece area for calls. So I think it doesn't disappoint. Although I think it does in this price range, it is a big disadvantage not to have headphone jack, because most competitors will have that option, although this is very reminiscent of high-end devices. So let's say in a mid-price range, it gives you the experience of a high-end also in this aspect. Its front camera is of 32 megapixels with f2.2 aperture. Over here I have a screenshot before taking the picture with this front camera. just so you realize that there are overexposed areas. But notice that after taking the picture, it does a good balance of highlights and shadows. I think the quality of this front camera, if it's good and outstanding, and that is something important because in this price range, generally manufacturers start to sacrifice a little bit. The quality of the front camera that does not reach such a high level. But here the first impression is that it is a camera that will give us very good quality, although curiously does not merge the pixels, so the photos are 32 megapixels, is a very high resolution, and in the review I will tell you many more details about this camera. And on the back we have an ultra-wide camera of 50 megapixels with f2.2 aperture and fixed focus. And then we have the main camera also with 50 megapixels, f1.88 aperture, autofocus and optical stabilization. In fact, in this price range, many manufacturers do not incorporate ultra-wide camera. And if they do incorporate, it is of a considerably low resolution. But in this case are two sensors of 50 megapixels. Something really unusual at this price. And here we have some examples. This is the ultra-wide camera, which, as I said, thanks to its good sensor, will also give us a good dynamic range, good colors, and I don't seem to notice any blur or any significant chromatic aberration here at the edges. Obviously, I think it's going to have some, but as a first impression, it's a very good quality ultra-wide camera. This is the photo with the main camera. The color rendition changed slightly. We will also have to see if you have any update available, because at this time I have not installed any update. For the review, I always have the device updated to tell you in more detail the quality of the photos. Still, it seems to me a photograph with a very good level of detail. This is a photograph with zoom 2x, and I note that it still retains a good definition. I think if it gets to have a good quality even here. And the maximum zoom is 10x, where we are no longer going to notice such a high quality of detail, but I think in the price range we could not get more demanding. Note that this is as close as you can get to a small object, so it's a camera that's not really focused on macro photography. But if you zoom in a little bit, specifically 2x zoom, I think you can still get a good enough quality of detail for these kinds of small objects, but again, it's not that focused on that. However, look at the quality of the portrait pictures. I think it has a very good foreground detection, blurring the background well. And it also lets you take portrait pictures with 2x zoom. That is, it gives you a very good quality telephoto perspective. It keeps detail well and excellent foreground and background detection. So for portraits, I think it will be an excellent choice. Also note that it can record video in 4K, even with the ultra-wide camera, although the front camera only records in Full HD. But in this price range, devices generally don't have the ability to record 4K video, much less with the ultra-wide camera, so it comes with very good features. Its battery is 5000 milliamps and supports 45 watts charging, although the charger is not included. The manufacturer promises that it charges to 100% in less than an hour, so we will put it to the test later to verify that claim. It does not feature wireless charging or reversible wireless charging. Those sections are still reserved for the high end. It comes with Android 14 and Nothing OS 2.5, which is not software that usually adds too many features. It just tweaks the aesthetics and obviously adds the glyph interface, which is LED bars on the back that, for example, you can use for some notifications or for when someone is calling you, and watch how it's going to light up in sync along with the sounds. This same glyph interface, you can use it to replace a notification LED or to have a timer also in this area, which is curved. So it can be attractive as well. Obviously, there are fewer LEDs compared to the regular Nothing phone. They come in 8GB versions of RAM with 128GB of storage, or 12GB of RAM with 256GB of storage. In this case, I have the basic edition, but it's definitely a nice thing to see these kinds of capabilities as well. Obviously, the edition with more storage will be more expensive. In this sense, the storage can perhaps come down to the basics compared to other devices that are already starting to offer us 256GB from this price range. However, we are sure to see a faster storage version here, so the experience is going to be very smooth. And finally, the processor is the MediaTek Dimensity 7200 Pro. It's a processor that I feel like we haven't tested, but it's manufactured by TSMC on a 4nm process, so I think it's pretty good. But we're going to put this processor to the test in a benchmark and get back with you when this benchmark is done to review the score. And presto, here are the results. 1122 on single core and 2470 on multi-core. For rough reference, that's about the performance that a Snapdragon 778, which was one of the most popular processors, would give us. So I think it's not bad performance for this price range. Although obviously we will put it to the test in the video review to see how fast it goes in games, how it does with various applications, video editing and much more. For the moment, we have reached the end of this video. If you liked it, you know you can let us know and we'll see you next time.